Hello everybody, welcome back to another tier list on this channel. Now in this video we'll be going through and ranking the best strikers in the world currently. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and as always please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think is the best striker in the world? We've got S, A, B, C and D. As always, as I said, the support on some of the videos have been great, so please continue, like, subscribe and do all that good stuff just to help push the channel. We're gonna have a lot of content coming, but I'll talk about that on a separate video. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the first player we're starting off is Kruppi Jr. from Bournemouth. Now Kruppi Jr. is a very good talent. I think he's had a season at Bournemouth where it was very good and he attracted a lot of interest from a lot of big clubs. Obviously he won't be moving there due to his injury that's going to keep him out for a couple of months. However, I definitely do think next season he will get that move. Now, immediately, I'm going to put him in at B for now. I think he's a really good striker. I think he has that potential to go on to be one of the best in the world. I think he's really talented and can score goals. As I was saying, I won't be surprised next season. He has another good season this season. He gets a big Premier League move, whether that's at United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, PSG, Bayern Munich. Those level of clubs I'm sure would be interested in him. And a lot of people are talking about him being in the next France World Cup squad or Euro squad, and you look at how stacked that is, that tells you everything you need to know about Kruppi Jr. He's a seriously talented player, and Bournemouth, again, that's just top class recruitment. I think, as I said, potential is definitely there. He's had one good season in the Prem, by 19, 20 years of age. He's fantastic, and as I said, France are going to have another superstar in their ranks. Joshua Zirkzee, in terms of a striker, I'm going to put him in at C. I like Zirkzee. I think he's someone who, technically as a footballer, he's very good. I've watched him throughout his time at Manchester United. He's had many opportunities, but he just hasn't hit the ground running, hasn't been able to put in those good performances that we kind of seen at Bologna. And listen, I think his time at United is over. As much as I don't want to say it, I think it's time for Manchester United to cash in on the player. I feel like you're not going to get what you invested in him. However, if you're looking at when you look at a striker, I just don't think of Joshua Zirkzee, in my opinion. He's more of a false nine, so play off the striker sort of vibe. And United just don't play that system to get the best out of him. I think where you see Zirkzee thrive is in Bruno Fernandes's position. But again, you're not going to get rid of Bruno and replace him with Zirkzee. That'd just be horrific. So as much as I like Zirkzee as a football player, he doesn't fit the United system. Ultimately, I think he's someone that's going to be sold. But I wish him all the best because he's had his chances at United but hasn't just quite delivered. But you never know, he very well could stay. I think sometimes his finishing's a bit shaky as well, and yeah, I think he's better off linking play and playing balls in behind. So far, watching him during pre-season for United, he's very good at doing that. Kylian Mbappe is going to go into S. I mean, I'm running out of words for Kylian Mbappe, an unreal player. You look at the 2 seasons he's had at Madrid. Yes, he's won no trophies, but he's been absolutely brilliant for them. The goals that he scored, I think he scored 43 in his first season. I think 43 in his second season. He's on around something like that. Really good player. His World Cup was fantastic. He's kind of not merged, but he's kind of gone from a left winger to a striker, and his game's just gone further forward. I thought he'd be someone that would guarantee stay at the left wing position. It could be because obviously he went to Madrid, and obviously they had Vinny there, and they were looking for that sort of Benzema replacement maybe. But I still think he's a very good finisher if he's off the left, off the right, or through the middle. He's absolutely lethal, and we've seen it for many years. I don't know if he's someone that's going to win the Ballon d'Or, but I definitely do think he's one of the best strikers in the world. And you're backing him to have a big season in Madrid. They're bringing in Diamande, Vinicius stays, they've already got Bellingham, they've got Rodrigo in and around there. Mourinho's back. They've got a very good team, and you're backing Mbappe to get some big goals for them, as I'm sure he probably will. But he's someone I'm excited to watch next season in the Champions League. Then you have Romelu Lukaku. Now, for me right now, where does Lukaku rank? Probably in C. In terms of if you're looking at his career, top career, obviously, being at United, Napoli, Inter, Chelsea, Everton. Had a lot of good spells there. Now I'm looking at Lukaku, like his career's kind of gone downhill in the last couple of years, and yes, in the last season for him, he played 5 games in the Serie A, scoring only 1 goal. So it wasn't great for him at all last season. The last few seasons, as I said, he like 24, 25 goal contributions, 25 goal contributions, 21. So I just don't know what's happened with Lukaku. I mean, I think that Chelsea move kind of did ruin everything. You know, he had 2 good seasons at Inter before then going to Chelsea. And then kind of from there, it didn't go downhill straight away, but it kind of began to go downhill. And from my point watching him, obviously the stats speak differently, but from watching Lukaku, I feel like that move did kind of ruin him, to be honest with you. But listen, he's a really good striker. Where does he rank now? For me, he's in C tier. Yeah. My first D tier is going to be Dominic Solanke, and listen, he's not a bad striker, but if you're looking at his fitness over the years, like, he can definitely score goals. I don't like Tottenham are obviously looking at a striker. I think that makes a lot of sense. As much as they need Solanke, he can't play enough games. He's had 2 seasons at Spurs, scored 22 goals across 66 games. At Bournemouth, he was obviously very, very good. He scored a lot of goals for them, and that's where they really got the best out of him. But yeah, I just don't think there's a top player there in Solanke, to be honest with you. And yeah, as much as I believe he's a good player, I still just don't think as of now he's a D tier striker. Now, Jean-Philippe Mateta, putting him in B. I think Mateta's a really, really good player. I think he's someone who can score goals. He's physical, he's aggressive, good pen taker. The last couple of seasons for Palace have been very, very good. He's been linked with a move away. I mean, there was a point where he was going to go to Milan, but that deal collapsed. Obviously, Palace have already got their replacement. But yeah, I think he's a really good striker and he's experienced. And again, he's someone that potentially, you know, could be on the move again for a big Premier League club. I think he has that quality. I think he has that talent. And again, he's someone who will get you 10-15 goals a season guaranteed. And yeah, that was that season where he was lethal for, I think it was 22-23 for Crystal Palace. But yeah, what a striker he is. I think he's really, really good. Not quite A tier, but I think he's very good. Same with Chris Wood. With Chris Wood, yeah, there was that one season, I think it might have been 24-25, where he was just unbelievable for Forest. Last season he wasn't great, whether that was injury, not in the team. Anytime I'd watch Forest, it was Igor Jesus, or it was basically it wasn't Chris Wood playing for them. He played 15 games last season. Yeah, 24-25, he scored 23 goals. Listen, he's a good striker, don't get me wrong. I think, you know, being through a lot of English teams, but I think he's very experienced. In terms of where does he rank now, I think he probably have to go in B. I think he still have if he's still at Forest, you know, I think he'll have a season for them. With Gibbs White, he could definitely bag goals. I mean, he's 34 now, so probably coming towards the end of his career, but I still think there's a decent striker and he can still, you know, give things to the Premier League and score some goals. Now, Ivan Toney, 32 matches in the Saudi Pro League, 32 goals, 7 assists. Yes, you can argue it's a Saudi league, which is fair. He scored a lot of goals there since being there. In terms of our strikers go, you know, I watched him heavily at Brentford, where he was very, very good. That 22-23 season where he got 21 goals, yeah. Only one of 4 players to get more than 20 goals for Brentford. I think the first player to do it in the Premier League in the season for them. So I think he's a really good striker. In terms of where does he rank now, he is still bagging goals at the Saudi League. You have to take that with a pinch of salt, and you know, but I still think you have to put him in B. I think he's a decent striker. I still think he could do it in the Prem, and yeah, I think he's an alright player. Ousmane Dembele, for me, has to go into S. I think you're looking at a Ballon d'Or winner, potentially could win the Ballon d'Or again. Multiple goals scored for PSG last season, Champions League final goal. Overall, yes, you can argue his season's not great because he doesn't start the domestic games for PSG in the French League. However, the games that he does start for PSG, he's scoring goals, he's creating chances. I think he's a really good player. A very impressive World Cup as well, and I think he's a really, really important player for that PSG team. It's crazy where his career sort of gone. I mean, 3 seasons ago, maybe 4 seasons ago, you're looking at sort of Dembele's career kind of being done. Not in a disrespectful way, but the injuries he was picking up, couldn't really get form at Barcelona. He was in and out of the team. And that PSG, it just shows that like one move or different bit of scenery can just transform your whole career. And that's ultimately what happened with Dembele. And he had a great turnaround, really good player. I really, really do like him. I think he's got quality. And again, he's still 29, so he's still got a couple of years. He's looking like he can stay fit now. He's bagging in goals, he's getting trophies. He's just a really good goal scorer, and we always knew the finishing was there and the talent was there. It was just whether he could stay fit. And now that he's done that, he's winning Ballon d'Ors. And as I said, if he said this to someone 4 or 5 years ago, that Ousmane Dembele would be winning Ballon d'Ors and Champions Leagues, I think a lot of people would have laughed at you. But really, really good player. Now, my first A tier is Oyarzabal. Now I think he is really, really underrated. Now no one probably watches him for Real Sociedad, but what he's done for Spain and what he's done for Sociedad in the time that he's been there, yes, maybe he doesn't get all the plaudits because he doesn't play for Real Madrid or Barca or Atletico Madrid, but he's a really, really good striker. If you're looking at someone that can get goals but also create space for others, and you've seen that in the World Cup, I think he's a really good player, really underrated. You know, he's up there with one of Spain's highest scorers. I really do think there's a player there. Whether he's too old now to get a move to the Prem or he's happy where he's at Sociedad, I don't know. But I think he's definitely someone that'd be capable of playing at a Palace, a Villa, those sort of level of clubs. Maybe even a top 6 club, who knows. But yeah, in terms of a striker's goal, great goal scorer. Yeah, for me, he's a top level striker. Now for me, Endrick, I have to put Endrick in C. He cost a lot of money for Real Madrid, and I just don't think he's delivered, to be honest with you. And yes, obviously he's got Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. Ahead of him, and Rodrigo and all these players, but there definitely is talent with Endrick. He's still only so young, 20 years of age. You know, the seasons that he's had at Madrid, as I said, he's only scored 7 goals across 2 seasons. Obviously still very, very young. For Palmeiras, he was very good. There's a talent there, definitely. But as of now, where does he rank? Yeah, I don't know whether that's going to be him going out on loan again or getting a permanent transfer away. But again, for at least maybe the next 5 or 6 years, he's not going to be the starting striker for Real Madrid while Mbappe's there. So he kind of has to think, is he happy playing second fiddle to Mbappe, or would he rather, you know, go to a club where he's going to be valued? And again, potentially going to Fulham with Arbeloa, you know, with Raul Jimenez. I'm pretty sure Jimenez has left. I think he'd be a good striker there, but he definitely does have quality. Just right now he's struggling to get games at Real Madrid, and the Lyon loan was alright for him getting goals. Rasmus Højlund, this is someone that I've watched firsthand. Have to put him in C. I think, you know, he's got that permanent move now to Napoli. Hopefully he can have a good time there. The time that he had at United was below average for the money that he paid for him. In terms of stats last season, he did get some goals for Napoli, which again is good from his perspective. However, you know, he's a striker who, listen, he's still only 23 years of age. He got 17 goal contributions in the league for Napoli. He's got a permanent move there. Let's hope he can do well there. I think the Serie A and the Italian league's a great league to get the best out of him. And yeah, I just think it was just never going to work out United from early. I mean, the first season was decent, the second season was horrific, and yeah, it was just a poor signing from United. But as I said, where he's at now at Napoli, I think is the right environment for him. He's got, you know, a good team around him, McTominay, De Bruyne, like decent team. I think he could do well there, potentially get up as the years go on. But yeah, that's where I see him right now. Gyökeres, listen, as much as people love to banter Gyökeres, say that he's wearing Timberland boots, he's slow and all these sort of things, you cannot deny the season that he had for Arsenal last year. He was brilliant for them. He scored 14 goals with 1 assist in the Prem. He got 21 goals in his first season. Yes, obviously the goals he got us bought to were ridiculous, 54 and 43 in 2 seasons there. Really, really good. That obviously is going to be very hard to get in the Prem, but I actually thought he played alright. Yes, his finishing in front of goal might not be great, and that's why I haven't put him in ARS, but I definitely think he can improve, and I think this season's the real test for him. You know, it was a big decision for him not to be included in the Champions League final, which again obviously would have hurt him, but I think he's going to be proven and determined now to get that Arsenal team going. He's that spearhead of the attack. He's the one that's going to be getting the goals for them, and I really do think he's a good striker. A lot of people are probably going to say he had an underwhelming season, but to get 21 goals in your first season is actually pretty decent. And as I said, maybe after next season we can be putting him into that A tier, but as of now, for me, he's in that B. I think he's a decent striker, nothing more than that. I think he can get better, but 21 goals in your first season, you deserve a bit of credit. Ferran Torres, I'm going to put him in B. Now, Ferran Torres is an interesting one because, you know, he plays through the middle, and he also plays on the right. Whenever, obviously, I've watched him in the Premier League at City, which is crazy to think he was there at a point, he was more of a wide player, and at Barcelona, obviously, he's all right there. I don't know now whether he'd be that, you know, main striker. Will they get someone else in? I don't know. However, I think he's a really, really good player, and I think he's someone that got quality. can score a goal, but yeah, I'm just going to put him in B, to be honest with you. Gonzalo Ramos, again, C. I mean, he's obviously secured the move to AC Milan now. See how he does there for them. I think there was always a player there. Obviously, he was at PSG. Obviously, barely got any minutes because of the front three or the front four that they had. I think, he was definitely fifth choice. Barcola, Dubé, Kvaratskhelia and Dembele all ahead of him. He can score goals. Again, he's probably a 10-15 a goal a season striker, maybe more. But we just have to wait and see how he does at AC Milan before you can judge him even further. I don't know how old he actually is. I can find out now. But I think there's a decent striker there. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see how his time goes. He is 25, so again, he's still got chances, and he's still got a career ahead of him. So Milan, maybe that'd be a good move for him, leading the line for them in a different league. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. Igor Thiago now. Listen, based off last season, you probably have to put him in A, so I'm gonna do that. I think he is a decent striker. Obviously, the World Cup for him was horrific. Again, it's all about now. Can he do it in the next season and the season after? Based on what I've seen from him last season, he looked very, very good. However, when I watched him at the World Cup, he was horrific. He literally played the first game, and then from there, he got benched, and Cunha was leading the line, which tells you everything you need to know. And Cunha's not even like an out-and-out striker. So Igor Thiago on the international stage, you can't judge him. In the Premier League, he's very good. As I said about Ivan Toney, he's one of those 4 players as well to get 20 plus Premier League goals, and to do that in his first proper season, really, really impressive. Again, the biggest thing I have with Thiago is, can he do it now for many seasons, or not many seasons, but 2-3 seasons, and then take it from there. It's all good doing 1 season, and a lot of people are saying this very well could be a 1 season wonder. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with him, but I really do think he is a good striker. Let's hope he can prove it this season. I think he's got great assets to his game. He's clinical in front of goal, can score all type of goals, pressing. Yeah, I think he's a decent striker. Let's just hope he can do it again. Isak, now this is a bit of a difficult one to judge, because at Newcastle he was fantastic. Obviously last season at Liverpool, it was a big money move. They chased him for a long time, scored a couple of goals, and obviously had that injury. I think now if he can stay fit and playing, he doesn't look, I've seen clips of him in pre-season, he doesn't look fully fit. Obviously he did have a leg break, I believe. It's going to take time to get to fitness. Based off last season, how I think he's as a striker right now, you probably have to put him in B. I think you can't put him any higher than that. As I said, this is a real first season, you can say, at Liverpool. He's had the pre-season, he's got in, see what he could do now in the Premier League. It'd be interesting to see how him and Ekitike, who I'll talk about in a moment, is going to be leading the line for Liverpool. But again, I just don't think that dynamic will ever work. I always think having 2 very good strikers, yes, it's good for depth, but you ultimately, one's going to always want to play more, and then it creates tension. You look at Alvarez and Haaland. Alvarez and Haaland were 2 very good players. Not both of them could start, and that's ultimately why Alvarez left, and now he's the main striker for Atleti. So yeah, with Isak, I think he's a good player. There's no one denying his quality. I think based off last season, you have to put him in B. The goals he scored for Newcastle were unbelievable. Let's see if he can do it for Liverpool next season. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think he's B as well. He's been around the English game for a while. Someone that will get you 10, 15 goals if fit. I think at the time the biggest concern with him was staying fit. And for Leeds, he had a pretty good season last season. He scored some big goals for them. I think he's a decent striker. I think he's found his level at Leeds. I think he continued to play there. And yeah, I just think he's a B-tier striker, to be honest with you. Liam Delap is going into D. I think, all in all, he's not really that great of a striker, is he? Like, he wasn't even in the team for Chelsea as much, whether that was injury or form. I think looking at where he used to play, I remember there were games where I'm seeing him play on the right hand side, like under Rosinha. Again, if you're looking at that Chelsea squad now, especially from the attack perspective, it'd be Rodgers and Palmer in the 10s, João Pedro through the middle. I'm thinking you'll have Nicholas Jackson there, you'll probably have Pedro Neto, as I said, you'll have a few other players, Mudryk, maybe Jamie Gittins, like Kenda. You'll have a lot of players in and around the attack. I just don't know whether Delap's going to be part of the plans. And he's still a young striker, but again, I just don't think he's made for Chelsea. I don't know where he goes. For me, I just think he's a D tier striker. Now, Danny Welbeck, again, I have to put Welbeck in at B. I like Danny Welbeck. I think he's a decent striker. Someone that can score goals, has done it now for many seasons at Brighton and in and around the Premier League. You know, coming towards the end of his career now, I still think he can offer something for Chelsea, and I think it's a very, very smart signing. Bringing that experience, quality, again, where does that put Delap in there now? Probably looking at getting sold. But I think Welbeck's a very smart signing. In the attack, they have a lot of, I wouldn't say young, but kind of youngish players. I think Welbeck would add that quality and experience and just that know-how. And it probably wouldn't even be the things you see on the pitch. It'd probably be helpful off the pitch to have someone like Danny Welbeck. But in terms of Welbeck, I think he's a very good striker, can score goals. Yeah, I've watched him many, many times. Top striker in my opinion. Hugo Ekitike, again, it was gutting that he didn't get to the World Cup because I was actually very, very excited to see him. I think he's a really, really good striker. Very good business from Liverpool. Obviously someone who was linked to Newcastle as well. Again, as I mentioned, I don't think that dynamic's ever going to work. He got an Achilles injury last season, which was disappointing for him because he was having a very, very good season. 17 goals and 6 assists in 45 games. Really, really good player. I like him a lot. Technically, he's very good. He can drift outside, score goals. Again, I'm very, very fascinated to see how that dynamic is going to work with Ekitike and Isak. Don't see it lasting very long, to be honest with you, but again, we'll have to wait and see. In terms of where do I rank Ekitike, watching him play, I think he's A. I know he played minimal, well, he played a lot of games for Liverpool. I think he's definitely still got potential to get better, and I hope, obviously, for Liverpool fans' perspective, Iraola would be that manager to get the best out of him and take him to that next level. But again, it'd be fascinating to see how he comes back from injury because that was a very, very difficult injury for him to get. And I'm sure he'd be frustrated by it because it come at the worst time for him. You know, Achilles tendon just before the World Cup. It was going because again, where would he have fit into that, you know, French attack? It probably would have been Barcola that didn't go. And Mbappe would have played every minute. You're probably looking at Doué's minutes getting sacrificed, but yeah, I think he's a really, really good striker. Saibari again, I'm not going to lie to you, I watched him throughout the World Cup and that was it. I know he was at, I think, PSV. Honestly, he's gone to Bayern Munich. I think he's a very, very good striker. I think, you know, at the World Cup, he scored a few goals anytime I watch him. I think the real sort of, how can I word it? Where Morocco's sort of World Cup journey went downhill for me is when Saibari got injured. Was it the Netherlands game? I think after that though, it just went like they just had no vocal point. Like no one was making runs in behind, no one was dropping deep. Like they did massively miss him, and he really is an important player for them. And I'm gassed to see how we do at Bayern. You know, he probably won't get many games due to how we game playing many of them. But again, he's a striker that I think can get goals. Really, really good striker. I think I've watched bits of him. I'll see how he does at Bayern, but I'm going to put him into B for now. João Pedro going straight in B. Listen, I like João Pedro. Watched him at his Brighton days, Watford, and now at Chelsea. You know, as of now, I'd probably say he's going to be one leading the line for Chelsea. Which again, I don't think he's the most complete number 9, as in like the natural number 9 if you look at some of them on there. But I do think he's a decent player. 24 years of age, got 20 goal contributions. 15 goals is pretty decent for your first season at Chelsea. Again, obviously the change of manager and all that sort of things. I think he's definitely a player that can play through the middle and off the striker as well. Again, I'm excited to see how he does this season. I think there's a decent player there. Let's see what goals he can get. Harry Kane, S tier. Again, that's kind of the easiest one. There's an argument to be had whether he's the best in the world. If you're looking at his career, looking at what he's done at Bayern Munich, the goals, I think he got 73 goals in the season last season. Clinical striker, left foot, right foot, penalty, header, and he's proven it for so many years. At Spurs, he was relentless. Bayern, he's kind of transformed that team, and he's the sort of main point. You know, people can criticise why does he want to drop deep and play those balls in behind, but it does work. You know, especially in that Bayern team. I know it does look kind of silly when he's picking up the ball from the defenders, but you know, his passing range fantastic. He's kind of acting like a midfielder, but then he also will get in the box and score goals. So I think he's all round a complete striker and can do everything. And again, that whole dropping deep thing at Spurs, a lot of people were critical of it, but again, I think it does work if you have runners in behind. You look at someone like Firmino, who at Liverpool, he wasn't the quickest, but he's dropped deep, played the balls in behind for Mane and Salah to run onto. You look at someone like Benzema, again, Benzema wasn't the most, like the player that would run in behind the most, but you had Bale and Cristiano who were rapid, who'd run in. Like, the list goes on, I can talk about more. I think he's a very, very key player, and he gets the goals as well, so he's doing everything really. I think he is the most complete striker in the world. I think he's absolutely fantastic to watch. The quality, the experience, what he had to this Bayern Munich team. And again, he needs to get a few more trophies, but as strikers go, I think he's one of the best, especially English football in the Premier League over the years. Marmoush, I have to put him in C. Like, his time at C hasn't been great. They pay him a lot of money. It's been pretty underwhelming, to be honest with you. Doesn't really get a consistent run of games. Again, whether that's him moving on. I think there is a player there, you know, he's technically sharp. He had a very good season for Frankfurt. Was that his first season last season? Might have been his second season. I think it was his second. I know he signed in January. Was it last January? Maybe. I think it might have been. So he had not a full season. Or he has had a full season. I don't know where Marmoush, you know, I don't know whether, listen, he's not going to play over Haaland. I think it's probably time to move on for him at the age that he's at. Lewandowski's an S-tier striker, man. What he did for Bayern, the goal he scored for Barca, unreal player. Got the trophy cabinet. But again, as strikers go, very, very clinical, very, very good in the box. You know, can score any type of goal. I really do think he's a really good player. And again, one of those players that I watched at Bayern Munich, and he was just unbelievable. You know, won the Champions League with them, scored many, many goals for them. Look at his season at Barcelona. Very, very good. The lowest goals he got in the time that he was there was 19 last season, which again is not bad. You look at his stats for Bayern Munich, unbelievable. Like 40 goals scored, 40 plus more goals for like 90% of his season. So yeah, I think he's a very, very good player. Again, one of the best strikers of this generation. Again, he's gone to the MLS now, which you can say it's kind of ruined his career, but he is like 37, 38, so he's going to be on that decline anyway. But I think he's a really top player and someone who, again, just a great finisher, can do everything. Then you have Kai Havertz. Now, when you think of Kai Havertz, you don't think number 9, you think number 10. You know, play off the striker. I know at Leverkusen he was playing more further forward. But if you look at it last season, there was a period, you know, he got trusted to play in the Champions League final, which was the biggest game Arsenal had of the season. You know, really, really good off the ball, aerially very good, scored the goal in the Champions League final as well. I think Havertz is a decent striker. I think he's always going to be the backup to Gyökeres, but you know, he probably will be someone that does chip in with 10, 15 goals a season off the bench, starting a few games here and there, rotation option. So I'm probably going to put him in B tier, to be honest with you, right now. I think I just don't think he'll ever be a starter, consistent starter anyway, if everyone's fit. If you're looking at that Arsenal attack, you'll have Odegaard number 10, Saka off the right, Martinelli off the left, and Gyökeres through the middle. So he's always going to be second choice to someone. So yeah, I just don't think I think he's a decent striker though. You know, can score a goal. But yeah, and that's where I'm just putting him. Benjamin Sesko. Now, Benjamin Sesko, probably have to put him in B as well. As much as I like Benjamin Sesko as a Manchester United fan, I think he had a pretty good season last season. He scored quite a few goals as well in his first season. As I said, now is all about taking it into the next season. I think if you're looking at a striker, he's got the fundamentals. He's aerially very good, link up plays decent. Aerially, as I said, can score a goal left foot, right foot. Again, first season was good. Let's just hope we can kick it on to next season. Ollie Watkins, this is gonna probably be the one that's most critical or critiqued. For me, whenever I watch Ollie Watkins, and again, I've watched the Premier League for many years, very, very good striker. He's got 10 plus goals in every season, in the last 6 seasons, which again is pretty good in the Premier League. He's definitely got consistency. He plays a lot of games as well at his age, you know. Really, really good player for Villa. And yeah, he's got experience, he's got quality, and I think he's just a really, really good player. I think you're looking at someone that can run in behind, can score a goal, can score a header, score a box goal. Like, for me, really, really good striker. And again, Villa have been winning trophies. It wouldn't be without, or have won a trophy, it wouldn't be without Watkins' input and Watkins' goals and his run in behind and his link-up play. think he's really, really good. Now the last one, Erling Haaland, obviously yes, again, ridiculous like goal tally that he has. All round very, very good, proving it at the World Cup. I think he's, you know, just getting better and better, and it's crazy. He's still got like 8 years left on his deal at Manchester City, which again is insane. There's a very high chance he breaks the Premier League record for most goals scored by a striker. I think he's on 100 odd now. Obviously the record's 260. If you look at the 4 seasons he's been at in the Premier League, in his first season for City in the Premier League, actually we do all comps, and for his first season at City he scored 52 goals. Second season 38, 31 in his third season, and then 41 last season. I mean, it's just ridiculous the amount of goals he scored. 27 in the Premier League last season. Like just ridiculous the goal record that he scored. And as I said, Champions League, got it. Premier League, got it. The trophies, everything. He's just all round so good. And again, he can do everything. Left foot, right foot, in the box, header, outside of the box. Like what a complete striker he is. But that has been my tier list. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as always. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you made it this far, just put a number 1 in the comments. And yeah, let's see what does happen. But they are my strikers ranked. I've tried to get as many as I can. Obviously there's a few that I've missed out, so if you want me to do a part 2, I can always do that, getting some more strikers in there. But as always, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. And as I said, just keep supporting the channel. Let me know if you agree, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.